Hey there, and welcome to the 75 things that annoy me about EToH. Before we start, I want to say a few things. This video is inspired by 100 Things That Annoy Me by Orange Peanut. Yes, this was originally going to be 100 things, but it became extremely hard to think of things, so 75 it is. This list may get very oddly specific, and there will be no towers mentioned, mostly. There will also be no issues mentioned that is a Roblox issue, because that is simply just unfair. Also, nothing's off limits beside what I just mentioned. So don't be surprised if something that doesn't make sense is on here, mostly because coming up with 75 things was incredibly hard. Okay, let's start. Well, before we really starting, let's get serious a bit. This video may be controversial, so please proceed with caution. Also, please do not harass anyone mentioned in this video. I don't mention anyone in specific, but I do mention groups of people. This is all for fun and games, and I don't want that to be ruined by someone's salty, crusty ass harassing people. Serious part over, now let's start. Number 1. Oversized item barriers. While trying to get this one screenshot from Citadel's True Exasperation, this not comically large VM barrier was in the way. No matter what I did, I could not get to the red floor, so I had to coil the entire Citadel. These oversized item barriers are unnecessary, and nobody thought once to make it smaller just a tad bit. Number 2. How unoptimized EToH is. EToH has absolutely no business using 2 gigabytes of memory. Yes, gigabytes, which is more than some Steam games need to run. Please optimize your game. Number 3. Killbrick mazes. TOC is one of the biggest culprits of this issue. These types of mazes are some of the slimiest ways to waste someone's time because you are spent healing and there is a chance of just flat out losing all of your progress. This is also genuinely just horrid gameplay, but I know newer tower creators will not do this, hopefully. Number 4. Final outsides. I'm sorry, but a final outside is a tower killer. Unless you are doing what TOUA does, where the final outside is at most low effortless, you should not be adding these to towers. They will make people mad, and then you will be tracked and bullied for the rest of your life. If you really need to boost your tower's difficulty, then please buff the inside. Number 5. Over decoration. Todai is a prime example of this. So many things are going on, it feels like I'm watching a YouTube Kids video where there are so many things happening that are hyper-stimulating the brain-dead Gen Alpha watching. Like Jesus, there's a point where you can stop and maybe put some of that effort into gameplay? Just a suggestion. Number 6. Insta-kills. Do I have to explain this? It's obvious, bro. We are not playing the impossible obby or some dumbass fat paps obby. This is EToH, and we should have standards. We should have evolved past these little things, yet it still plagues certain towers to this day. Do something like what TOMM does. All these progress thief bricks replaced the insta-kills originally in this tower, so please just don't add these. Number 7. Ladders. No, not trusses. These stupid pieces of shit. Stop using these. These are inferior to trusses in every way imaginable. These ladders are jankier, more inconsistent, and just flat out bad. Number 8. GBJs. Same reason with insta-kills. These are so slimy and cheeky. But unlike insta-kills when they aren't used too much, these are still being used way too much. Believe it or not, it is not fun playing through an entire tower all over after some bullshit pulled by the tower creator. Stop shitting around and get to work on some actually good gameplay. Number 9. Ball/cylinder jumps. Yeah, I found out through playing TOGF that I don't really like this type of gameplay. Worst part is that these jumps are actually RNG sometimes. Sometimes you could just walk off, and then when these jumps want to work, you might just slide off the other cylinder or ball you're trying to land on. Number 10. People who fail the final pendulum of TOIF. This final jump quite literally has the clearest instructions of all time, but for some people just had to do something extra, and surprise, surprise, you failed the easiest part of TOIF. Number 11. What qualifies as legit. What qualifies as legit nowadays is ridiculous. You cannot use anything for it to be qualified as fully legit. No FPS unlocker, no items, not even non-boost items, and no skips. Not too long ago, 75 FPS was considered legit, but now this isn't even considered legit anymore. Even though it doesn't even change the physics, and it's there to just supply more FPS. Recently in the top towers, though, they started letting 90 FPS go through, which, I mean, it's better, but, like, still, why not more? Like, what's the difference? Number 12. People who say GG to anything. Now, I am not saying people who say GG is bad, because it isn't. It's just common gamer lingo and courtesy to tell someone when they do a tower. I'm talking about the people who say this 2-letter acronym to anything, and I mean anything. Let me paint a scenario. Let's say you have player 1 inside of Zone 3 and player 2 inside of Ring 5. Player 2 beats Tower of Icy Blizzards, and player 1 inside of Zone 3 says GG. Listen, it shows good intentions, but player 1 looks like a schizophrenic person. Number 13, people who use cosmetics. No, not trails, and not these types of cosmetics. I'm talking about people who use something like personal GBJ. Who is using this? Basically, if you use a cosmetic that literally blocks your view, you are a menace to society, and you deserve to be exiled and put through the guillotine. Number 14, Zone 8's Ring Select. And really just Zone 8's lobby and look. One of my friends described this Ring Select best. This isn't Pluto, this is just a miscellaneous space rock. Probably one of the greatest JToH quotes of all time. But seriously, this looks nothing like Pluto. Why is there snow? Since when was there snow on Pluto? I know there will be kids saying, oh, the game is not realistic. Why are you complaining? Well, guess what? This is my list. Go cry about in JToH discussion. Actually, don't. Number 15, loop failing floors. Ah, button progress. Isn't it horrible? Bet you weren't expecting that, but unfortunately there comes an issue with button progress or certain jumps that are a difficulty spike. Basically, some towers have the issue of loop failing. In case of button progress, EToH UA is a prime example of this. For jumps that are a difficulty spike, of course it's TOBK. At least EToH UA actually has some good gameplay. Number 16, wall hops. Maybe controversial? I don't know, man, but wall hops annoy the hell out of me. I don't even know why they do. I just hate doing them. I don't find them fun when it's incorporated into towers. I mean, you could keep using them, but just so you know, you lost one player. I know, big yikes, that's insane. Number 17, design over gameplay. Builders need to stop putting design and sometimes creativity over gameplay. Gameplay is literally the most important part because that's what makes the tower. Design and creativity are like the little sprinkles on top. Gameplay is the whole ice cream. Get that inside of your skulls before it's too late. Number 18, people who downplay soul crushings. Yes, I'm talking about those people who say, oh, TODT, oh, TOTL, oh, TODC is REM. Like, have you ever heard of something called silence? There are many things in this world that you should keep to yourselves. Like, for example, if you like kids, if you're an incel, or if you're like a serial fapper and likes to watch Roblox furry midget porn, or you think TODT is REM. What do all of these have in common? Degeneracy. Number 19, elevators when they stop working. I don't know if there is a possible fix for this, but I still complain about it. When an elevator just stops working, it's the worst feeling in the world because you know damn well it ain't your fault. My solution for this is just to remove elevators from the kit. What do you think? I know how to fix it? I'm just some guy in a hot-ass room ranting about a Roblox video game. What do I know? Number 20. The final obelisk taking too long. Bro, Ring 9 was released 2 years ago. We have not gotten any news on the obelisk besides maybe some difficulty changes. Not even news if they're working on the obelisk, nor news on the guardians. All we know is that the sub-realms are being made, so some progress is being done. #21. Towers not having an easy way to get their models. Why aren't tower models public? Like, I can understand if the tower is not in-game yet, but some towers that are in-game don't have their models public and or no easy way of obtaining them. When I was making my roasting every JToH SC video, I had this very issue. So if your tower is already in the game, please just make your models public. 22. Precise difficulties. There is no point in having precise difficulties because you know sure as hell that they are extremely incorrect. On top of these, who is assigning these difficulties? Like, difficulty is kind of subjective, so there's really no point in having these precise difficulties. 23. Songs without their original name. Certain towers, well, a lot of towers, has songs named like this. This is an example. Coty Side B7. No, I don't want to go to the JToH wiki and find the song that sounds good. Yes, I know this was done to save time, but again, I can still complain about it. Nothing off limits. 24. Revamps taking so long to release. Guys, did you know that Toast is getting a revamp? Yeah, well the JToH community has known that revamp for 2 years! This revamp has literally finished and it has not released. Same with the Thanos Tower revamp, although we did get some sort of update with the nerf, but the point still stands. 25. Getting flung by bad structuring. Look at something like this here. This is what we call bad structuring. Basically any part in a way that puts the player at risk of being flung. Yes, I know I use TOBBB for this, but I don't know any other tower that has this, and I cannot be bothered to shift through hundreds of towers just to find an example. Try to avoid making these because it can make for a very enjoyable experience when someone falls when flung unfairly. 26. Punky Joe. I don't know, man. I just fucking hate pedophiles, so I hate him, and he's on the list. 27. TOBK. I know I talked about not including towers, but this tower is just bad enough for me to talk about it, and I have a lot of things to say about it. First of all, I genuinely believe this is one of the worst extremes ever, only being better than Tossin because that is the worst extreme tower. The gameplay is genuinely so bad. I hate this style of jank gameplay. It's just simply not fun. Not only that, the biggest issue with it is the final stretch, only being added to enhance the difficulty. I've recently been split between TOAE and TOBK because TOAE to me is a fucking joke, and that final stretch is shit. But I have more things to talk about for TOBK because I've hated that for longer. And I'll finish with a quote from my late father. TOBK was made to be annoying. Logan ISL. 28. Lodges. TOAE is the reason why I despise lodges. The way that tower uses lodges is creative, but creative doesn't speak about enjoyment. To me, lodges are extremely janky, where sometimes I'll just get the lodge, and my Roblox avatar that is apparently built like a f***ing armor stand, having no muscle mass, just gives up after a second. 29. Monthly challenge towers. No, I am not talking about the monthly challenge towers themselves. I'm talking about how your tower becoming a monthly challenge is probably the worst fate that can happen to your tower. Like, imagine meticulously crafting the perfect tower. The tower you worked months to get on the whitelist, and then like a year later, it becomes a fucking monthly tower in like zone 7. 30. Beat blocks done wrong. When the beat blocks are done right, like in TOBBB, they can be very nice actually, but a lot of these towers don't do it right. Tower dispersed rooms and tower strategic mechanics are perfect examples for beat blocks done wrong, where it's just lazily used in a way to make you lose progress because funny gameplay stunt. Beat blocks have crazy potential, but some people just don't know how to implement them well, and that is a darn shame. 31. How dry the content creator scene is. There are almost no original ideas for EToH. Coming up with an original idea is my least favorite part of the process of making a video. Even this video was inspired by something else unrelated, and I have to make it work with EToH in some way. As a content creator, a lot of ideas are already taken, so all you can do is either take the idea, take it and try to add on to it, or start something original. Looking at my channel, you can see all this. Most of my videos are inspired or added onto because of how difficult it is to come up with an original EToH content. If you're a newer EToH YouTuber, I really recommend having a list of ideas before you start. 32. TODCC being unplayable. Yes, this tower sucks in many ways, but I still want to play it. Nothing off limits. 33. If there's no coil barrier, why is there a VM barrier? I'll have to explain this one because it might not make much sense from that title alone. Citadels are a culprit of this. Basically, they have VM barriers, but no coil barriers. How does that make sense? There are boost items, and if you have something like Heavenly Coil, you can make the Citadel significantly easier using it. Same goes with VM, but coil requires a little bit more effort. It's either you add a coil barrier or remove the VM barrier, because yes. 34. EToH R. This is so much wasted potential and most importantly time. I haven't heard anyone murmur about this in over 2 years, which is so unfortunate because the game is actually cool. Number 35. It still feels like there isn't enough options for SCs. Sounds weird, but I had this dilemma not too long ago when determining my next soul crushing. There aren't many options for catastrophic, so I really had to choose well. It's unfortunate that in my opinion there is still a terrifying SC shortage. I know with the release of more areas, hopefully this issue will get resolved soon enough. 36. Skip patching. Okay, this annoys me enough to add on the list, and I know a lot of people would agree with me. Okay, listen, if the tower creator doesn't want a skip patch, then that's okay. But from what it looks like, EToH staff just kind of patches skips without really asking for permission. Not accusing them in anything, but like, it's still annoying. Number 37. POM not having a proper rank select. Yes, I understand that it's not supposed to have a rank select because the area isn't canon, but bro, it would have been so cool to see a POM as a rank select. I am not gonna lie. Number 38. There is no massive disappointment in get yeeted. You might be asking, what the hell are these? Massive Disappointment was a badge where if you died on floor 9 or more on a remorseless or higher tower, you would get the badge. Get Yeeted was also a badge where if you got flung and went far enough, you got the badge. Give these badges back. I know they are hella useless, but I still want them. Number 39, checkpoint system. This system is in place to prevent skipping whole towers, and yes, it does that job, but at the expense of thousands of wins. Yes, this might be the best way to prevent skipping whole towers, but it's still pretty unreliable and has siphoned away hundreds of thousands of wins. Even one of my wins on an alt account when I was banned for 7 days for saying gay in a non-offensive way. Number 40, how hard it is to finish a tower. Okay, to give tower builders some credit, finishing a tower, all 10 floors, is something I find to be extremely hard. The least you can say to these creators, even if the tower is shit, is that they are very clearly dedicated people and very determined people, which is something I should talk about because the community seems to forget about that sometimes, even I do. Number 41, X-pushers that ricochet. Man, do I fucking hate these. 1 second I'm riding on an X-pusher having a great time, and when I blink I'm suddenly 5 floors down. I don't know if you can turn this option off in Roblox Studio, but please stop using these types of X-pushers. Number 42, Toffin not offering a skill boost. In my opinion, Toffin is the worst terrifying to do in terms of skill boost. Yes, it does introduce you into the world of terrifying, but not in a good way. The harder floors are the last floors, so really Toffin is more of an can you last the entire grind before losing your mind after failing the tightrope for a 3rd time test than a skill booster in my opinion. Number 43, Thin Studs. You're kind of forced to get good at these because towers will use them if things get muddy. It's like sort of a secret move taught by Jukries herself to instantly add +5 difficulty to your tower while compromising gameplay. If you have an IQ over at least 2, then you can guess the main culprits of this sin. Number 44, COV just not being added to POM. We already have TOEV and COIV. Like, why not add a nerfed version of COV at this point? I don't really know why they didn't just add COV like the whole Citadel and Pit of Misery. Like, again, just add like a nerfed version of the whole Citadel. Number 45, Paradise Asshole is a joke. This whole sub-realm is a joke. Most steebles are just design over gameplay, and most steebles are challenging. What happened to, oh, this is a beginner-friendly sub-realm that will help people progress? Number 46, this tiny issue with the ring select. I'll put a picture up right now. You see that cutoff? That's game breaking. You know I had to report it, and they fixed it, but there's a color difference still. Please fix it. Game breaking. Number 47, how underused the X launcher is. Bro, this part of the kit has probably been used in like 6 towers or less. I haven't played a lot of towers still, but from what it looks like, the X launcher does not get much attention at all, which is sad because I feel like this could be used in some really cool way. I don't know, I'm just some kid who doesn't know too much about creating a tower, but come on, try to incorporate this into towers somehow. Number 48, people who think EToH is really good. Bro, it isn't even that good. Number 49, event items being unattainable. Yes, there is a good reason why these are unattainable, but I still wish I could have them. Some of these items would be genuinely so useful if I was able to use these. Number 50, people who believe COV is humanly possible. Yes, if infinite time existed and JToH players were around for an infinite amount of time and computers didn't explode after an infinite amount of use, COV is possible then. But unfortunately, death is knocking. Death is pulling up, y'all, so go outside. No, COV isn't humanly possible. It's hypothetically possible, but so is time travel. And do you genuinely believe humans will remember COV long enough that someone skilled enough beats it? I see no way of this ever being beaten. Number 51. People who comment in tower songs. Bro, you could put JToH into actual trouble by doing this, so keep your little J-tarded mouth shut and just enjoy these songs. If you have to comment about JToH, just don't make it too obvious, I guess. Number 52. Not enough of JToH's OST. JToH's OST is actually so fire. Kaliko Kid did an amazing job on this OST. It's just such a shame it doesn't appear often. I would love to see more of this in the future. Number 53. How they just let TOTJ slide into JToH casually. Look at it! It's hideous! Okay, but seriously, how did they let such an ugly-ass tower inside of the game? I mean, yes, I know Tower of Radiant Realms exists, but it looks nice on the inside. This just looks flat-out ugly, man. Number 54. Zone 4's look. Wow. Look at how not close it does to look like an exosphere. I mean, why is the Earth so far away? Wait. Oh, it's been changed to actually look like the exosphere. What do I complain about? Oh, I know, bro. Why are these walls here? Okay, video saved. Let's go. Number 55, inability to look at old curator reviews. It's either me being a dumbass or you can't see curator reviews before 2021. This is annoying because when something like TOBK is in the game, I want to see the curator reviews so I can see what fucking psychopath thought it was a good idea to add this tower. But I can't, so I guess sucks to suck. I mean, let me please see these old reviews, man. Like, make an archive or something. Number 56, obelisk not being harder. Why is the obelisk intense? I mean, like, make it peak remorseless or something. Yes, this is the end of TGI, so why not make it more climactic by making it hard? Yes, I understand obelisks are extremely long. I would know by playing Ools, but still, I think this should be a little bit harder. Number 57, people who said Toga wasn't RNG. With the way the glitch traps were built, Toga was most certainly RNG, especially this jump. There was no way to control what direction the glitch trap would lead you. Saying this tower wasn't RNG is just cope in my eyes, lying to yourself so you can pretend that you got skill from completing this tower. Number 58, difficulty pole removal. The inability to have democracy over difficulties is very sad. I know it was the community's fault for thinking it was absolutely hilarious, absolute stand-up comedy worthy knee-slapping thing to just put the wrong difficulty and record them doing so. I still want rights, damn it! I want to say in difficulty, I want authority! Number 59, X-pushers getting stuck. This happened on stream to me while playing Toadie. Thankfully, I was over safety net, but this could have been really bad. Number 60, how unmemorable Zone 3 is. I think Zone 3's biggest failure was the fact that there was too many old towers that happened to be forgettable. Seriously, I don't even remember playing through most of these towers. They're just so forgettable, it's sad. All of Zone 3 to me is just in some area I rarely bother going into because I don't feel like playing some towers that are exceptionally boring. Number 61, the fate of whitelisted towers. Keep in mind this is all observations, so this might be a little controversial, but again, this is my observations. Without you realizing, there are probably tens to hundreds of towers in the whitelist, and only a few of those can go inside of EToH with each aerial release. If you aren't a high status EToH player, you will not be getting your tower in game for months, if not years. Example of this, Kaloi gets his tower reviewed, and then it instantly gets into Zone 8 3 days later, when there were still at least 13 whitelisted extreme towers waiting to be added during this time. Clearly there is some bias in the decision making process for what tower gets in. Think about it, the older the tower gets, the less likely it is to be added into the game for a newer area, as it may become outdated. So then its fate is three things: to be forgotten, to become a monthly challenge tower, or to be forced into a new area. All of these things aren't so great. I've already told you why it annoys me that your tower could be a monthly. Your tower being forced into an area can mean that it could become obsolete and people's standards are always changing, which means your tower might be shit on if you don't make a good enough tower to stand the tests of time. And your tower being forgotten is just flat out unfortunate, like what happened to this tower. This tower has been on the whitelist for 4 years. Like, this is basically never getting added into the game. I haven't seen anyone talk about this issue before, so I decided to add this. Number 62, canceled events. When these happen, these are extremely disappointing for everyone because you're hyping yourself up for this big event. You're about to grind the hell out of it, get every item possible from this event just to get canceled because of time constraints. Very unfortunate event. Number 63, climbables placed high. TOVE on stream was the biggest mistake I've ever made. It took me 3 live streams to finally do the monthly challenges. Anything that is a climbable placed high is like asking for a disaster to happen. This is such a cheap way to get someone to lose progress. Number 64, nothing given from tower rush completions. A lot of other people have complained about this very issue, and it's understandable. Yeah, I believe you should get at least something, like a trail or cosmetic being tower rushes, because people who do them are super dedicated and deserve some sort of prize. At least like have a badge or something. We're long overdue for an update on tower rushes. Number 65, TOBK's final stretch music. License mashup sucks ass. It was better the way it was. Do better. For the final 10, let's switch up the mood a little. That's more like it. These picks might be a little controversial, but it's not like this video has already been controversial enough. By this point, I am really stretching for ideas. Number 66, Heavenly Coil isn't good enough. I ain't asking for some life-changing change here, but I sound like a spoiled 9-year-old. But I feel as if Heavenly should get a little bit better. I'm not asking for it to be better than Bless. I just feel like you should get a better jump boost since this was 1500 Robux. Again, I do sound like some rich spoiled kid, but remember, nothing is off limits and nothing is safe. Number 67. Heavenly Coil not protecting you from barriers. On the topic of this coil, this trash. Yes, it protects you from everything that offers damage. Wow, Scoutflex, you should really use this coil. It might help you with your no damage series anyway. The only exception is barriers. This is annoying because Coty's big ass barrier is in the way, and to get this one screenshot was wasting 20 minutes of my life. God, Coty seemed to be always in the crosshairs of my complaints, yet I find it to be a fine Citadel with a great personality. Number 68, people who bought Boombox. You have to be a real knucklehead to get this. Even before the audio update, you could catch anyone barely using this. Now with the audio update and EToH switching to the group, what was the result? Wasted Robux and an item you'll never get? Good work, champ. Number 69, Halloween 2021 and Winter Event 2022. Two of the most underwhelming events in EToH history. Yes, both of these events were cancelled due to time constraints, but I can complain. Oh, yes, I can. Because I am a certified girl boss, former developer of Tricky Triangles, I can safely conclude that the dev team just needs to get better. Number 70, can't play EToH without guides. I've talked to the beginner and they said that EToH was very unclear for them, and that sort of makes sense. There aren't really any hints for stuff like sub-realms, SC rooms, what to do next, not even realms. For me at least, I didn't know there were more realms until after a lot of playing and research. EToH is notorious for not being beginner friendly, and there needs to be some sort of upgrade that at least hints at what needs to be done for progress. Number 71, exploiters that ruin a game. I'm talking about exploiters that ruin it for others. Like, I don't give a shit if you exploit on a tower. Cool, alright, you're gonna get banned in like an hour, so who really cares? I'm talking about those mischievous, evil exploiters that hide behind anonymous masks and wreak havoc on the servers. Why are those private servers for special people? Exploiters. Why isn't it public? Exploiters. That's insanity. Number 72, EToH discussion. Do I have to explain this? EToH discussion is a dumpster. So many bad things happen here. It's extremely toxic and it's a joke. That's why you'll barely catch me lacking on EToH discussion just because it's radioactive. Number 73, EToH thumbnails. The EToH content creator scene has some of the worst thumbnails known to mankind. I'll put some on screen and it speaks for itself. As an enthusiast for quality thumbnails, as seen from the thumbnail of this video, I hate these thumbnails. This goes against basic laws of design. How do 93,000 people see this thumbnail and say, oh well, I guess this is what I am watching? Was it because it's so bad that it caught your attention? Please, people, work on your thumbnails. They're really important. Number 74, definition of a floor is vague. I talked about this in my last video, but the gist is that a floor is extremely vague. Someone pointed this out, but dude, the basements of Cohad count as floors. If then, that makes Cohad like a great citadel or something. See? Vague and confusing. Game breaking. Please fix. Number 75. The last thing that annoys me in EToH is EToH itself. Think about it. The concept of EToH was built on annoyance. The concept of each floor being 100 by 100 by 100, a tower that has 10 floors of gameplay with 0 checkpoints is annoying. I know. Shocking revelation. Well, that's the end of my video. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe because I make some very quality EToH content, and it would be very appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye!